Ladies and gentlemen, the following workflow will burn a lot of tokens and will also eliminate you as the bottleneck. And that thing is called Grok Bot. So today I'm actually going to show you how I handle tasks in my project using Grok Bot and turn it into my CEO. It's basically become the boss of my repo, and this workflow is really, really nice. This video is not for those who are already really advanced in Cloud Code, in Codex, or in these different things. You're going to be up in here saying, well, you should be deploying to Linux and doing all those things. Bro, just get out of here. We don't need you right now. This is for the other people who are trying to ship some software. Maybe if you've tried some of these other things in the past and really couldn't piece them together, I have a couple of unlocks that I'm going to guide you through just to make this process possibly easier for you. It is going to require you to have access to this thing called Grokbot, and this is currently a $200 a month plan inside of Cursor. So if you're already a Cursor user and using the Cursor Ultra account, this is really phenomenal. And if you're a Grok user and if you're using the Super Grok Heavy at $300 a month, you can tie the plan together with your Cursor plan, and now you get Cursor Ultra as well, and you get extra usage from Grok, and also be able to use Grokbot and also use this inside of Cursor. A big part of this whole workflow is actually going to be able to use the cloud components, and this is actually kind of what starts to really unlock things. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. And so I'm going to get right into it right now. So inside of Grokbot here, in order for you to basically have your Grokbot turn into your CEO, the way that I structure this is I actually have one agent. It's called a direct responsible agent. And this is the name of the agent for the project, Clippy DRA or Clippy app. And so once you click that, you're going to literally just copy this prompt here. It says you are the chief agent in charge of managing, and then just give it a link to the GitHub project. And you're going to run the entire show, spin up cloud agents, follow up on PRs, and you'll use the potato mode when necessary when you want to read up on the potato mode. Luckily, if you're actually reading this right now, you can just go to my free school community, and I actually have this as a resource that you'll be able to take a look. So in the classroom, I'm going to have this Grokbot guide. It's going to be live for you, and you'll be able to go and just copy this exact prompt here. I've actually cleaned the prompt up a little bit, and I've actually included the links to the resources. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about pstack, I'm going to have a video. You'll probably be able to click somewhere probably up here, and I will be going into a lot deeper details of what that workflow is. If you're just kind of new, this is basically a workflow that will encompass cloud agents and then verifying work and kicking off a lot of tasks. This will use a lot more tokens than usual, so you may see your token consumption come up, but the results that I get are incredible, from a lot of slot being removed, extra comments that are actually removed as well, because some of these things like to do that, and a bunch of other goodies that I'll also cover in that video. So make sure you check that out over there. But I'm just going to continue on over here with what you need to do next. Pretty much after you do that, what ends up happening now is the agent is going to take a look at the repo, and it's going to start to configure itself and try to set up some routines so they can start checking on what happens inside of your GitHub project. And so what is really great here, and what's kind of advanced, you'll see this thing called routines. So whenever you click the agent up here, you can get some more information, or you can click over here and you get the sense of what's going on with these routines. And so these routines actually describe what the agent can do. You can add a bunch of routines yourself, but what's nice about this whole workflow is that you don't have to configure them. The agents will do that on your behalf. And so I'm just giving you a sneak peek of what the agent really did. And this is kind of the powerful part of turning your Grokbot into your CTO or your Chief Technology Officer. And once you start to understand this paradigm, you're going to want to start thinking in this new way on how you can delegate work and have the agents do that work for you. So when you tells it to run, you can actually see it's going to, whenever stuff is open in this specific repo, it's going to look for these types of things. And it's going to actually run these instructions to classify the bugs and the PR, understand what it's doing, and then use potato mode for like real engineering work and so forth, and skip potato mode for these other types of things. So this is really, really great because all these instructions are pretty comprehensive. And this is the first step in kind of making it become your CTO. One of the things that you're going to need before you get started is this thing called pstack. Pstack is from the Cursor team, and it was developed by Lauren. Lauren currently works on Grokbot and has actually worked previously at Meta, Netflix, and has wrote millions of lines of code and is currently maintaining the React compiler. And so she goes very deep on a lot of these technical concepts, and the pstack itself includes a lot of skills. So these are like 44 different types of skills that can actually help you shift software. And the main one that we're going to use is called potato mode. And so that's potato with the E, and if you can think about that. And there are lots of things that will kick off just from that workflow by itself. So the only thing you have to do to get started is do /add plugin pstack. And once it gets installed, then you'll actually just ask it to go through the setup for you and it'll configure the agents. And so this is a big part of shipping software or having GrokBot turn into your CTO. And in the next steps, I'm going to show you how this is really going to play out on a real code base, and then how you can start using this to help you fix bugs, ship software, ship new features and everything. Is right out of the gate, you'll actually see it picking up the PRs and reading what to do next. And it's going to schedule its own routines for figuring out what to do for you. And right out the gate, you can actually see, boom, first PR, second PR starts landing, and it just really starts to come in succession right after another. And you'll see these PRs coming in. You just go ahead and click open up in Cursor if you want to go ahead and see what's happening. And this is pretty much happening in a cloud session. And so what's nice about a cloud session is it doesn't take up any resources on your machine. And as you can see, potato mode is actually being running. So like this is a kickoff prompt that is happening. I did not have to prompt this. This was all driven by the Grok Bot. And this is kind of the advantage of actually having the Cursor Ultra plan, is because when you have these cloud agents kick off, it's going to kick off whatever specific model needs to use. And so in this case, it used Cloud Opus 5 to determine that it needs to kind of complete this task for this type of thing. So you can tell potato mode what types of models you want to use. You don't have to be stuck on using the Grok 4.6 model or whatever model you're choosing that would best fit for that task. So as you can see here, it's even like testing itself, and this is part of the whole environment, and I didn't really have to specify that. The bot actually took the initiative, send that off to Cursor, and it pretty much started working. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see this thing. There's this thing called dslop. And so this dslop is part of the whole pstack. And this was already included in the prompt. I did not have to prompt it itself. And it says dslop as part of our verification work for the long running cloud agent prompt. And so what's nice about this thing, and this is the power of where this is really going, and this is why I'm super excited about GrokBot, is I don't have to constantly sit there in front of my agents and just prompt it all these different steps. Because before I used to just say, hey, go create this feature, and it comes back. I would test it and then go fix this bug, go fix this bug. Okay, make sure to check all the PR comments. Make sure to do this. I would do a code review. Oh my God, look at all these comments. And then I would make skills for them, and I would do / commands for the skills. And then I would do all these different things that I would have to do. And now this is basically automated. And the person who automated it works on millions of lines of code, and we get to inherit that. And this is the power of using a big skill like that, or a big plugin from Cursor. And if you connect that with a GrokBot, I think this is really the big unlock. And we're just seeing the very beginnings of this, because this is still in early beta, but I'm already seeing a lot of great results. And for me, I don't want to be sitting in front of my machine or just always on my phone, monitoring every single PR, taking a look at everything, dropping comments into the things. I want to delegate that out, because a lot of this stuff is just repetitive process. The things that I really want to focus on are on the user experience for my app, making sure I test it and things are actually feeling like the way they're supposed to feel, and that the features land like they're supposed to land. So that's kind of why I want to delegate a bunch of that other work. But you can kind of start to see this compounding effect, which is why I'm super excited about this beta for GrokBot. And this is just the very beginnings of this whole thing. So I want to share something with you, because it's really easy to then start getting really greedy with this. And this is kind of where the degenerate side of me really pops out. So I've spent like over 2 billion tokens just in one day. And I want to kind of help you out so that you don't go through the same mistake. So that way you can maybe have a different perspective on this whole thing. And so the way that I approached this was that I started to ask my GrokBot to start doing everything. And it started to really deliver. It just went crazy. It just started to delegate everything. And what I had it do in my original instructions is that I told it to use pstack for everything. So every single request, it used that skill file, and that skill file will sometimes fan out multiple agents. And that just means it sent out like 3 agents at once to do verification tasks, to do any type of task that maybe could have been simpler with just like one cloud agent or something like that. And so that's kind of where I made that mistake. So the bigger unlock here is just to say, I want you to use the pstack whenever you think it's possible for hard tasks. Don't use it for everything. That's probably one big part of it. Another big part of it that I just found out from talking to Lauren is this thing called autopilot. So this keyword is something you want to drop in your prompts if you really are going to step away. And I tend to use this more at night, like right now, before I head to bed. I'm just going to yap in a whole bunch of information as far as either fixes I want to do, things I want to go investigate, and just say, I want you to land it in autopilot. And autopilot just means it's going to finish the feature, the details, the testing, everything completely end to end, make the PR, go through all the code reviews, look at all the different bug bot comments, fix those bugs, and then it will land them into main. And then you just wake up in the morning, just YOLO ready to merge or something like that. Or it's already merged into main. Or you can just say, don't merge, please autopilot all the way in, but I want to review it before it gets merged into main. So you have a couple different responsibilities, but it's really on you as a person who's giving the instructions to the Grok bot. So those are some of the big pro tips that I would give to you right now. If you're basically using this type of system, you will start to go crazy. So let me just show you a quick example of what I started to do, because once I started to do this type of thing, it gets really, really addicting. And you're literally, I just give it screenshots. I just test everything. I just throw it in here. It comes up with PRs, and it's just left and right fixing things like no other. It is crazy how fast you can ship software this way. And especially if you just start to use the cursor Grok 4.6 high fast thing. And so that it becomes insane, because now I'm just giving it screenshots. It comes back, it fixes the UI, it does all the testing. And then I don't really have to like babysit everything, which is so cool. And so eventually these agents will stop to keeping track of all the different bugs that you're throwing at it, because I just went super fast. I'm like, okay, fix all this, fix all this, fix all this. And then I started to discover there were some problems because it would actually miss a couple of things. I'm like, why did it miss that? What's going on? Give me an update. And this is the next prompt that I want to give you, is probably going to help you become like the manager that you probably should be and you've been avoiding. So I want to show you something real quick. Here is the prompt that you want to use, because this is exactly me getting really mad at it right here. So I put it in the free school community, and you'll be able to get this there as well as a resource. And this is the prompt that you basically want to just go ahead and put into your agent, just start copying it. It looks like you have a lot on your plate, so I'm going to need you to spin up a new Grok bots to report to you so that you can ship software for this project. You haven't been able to stay on top of all these requests, so spin up some new Grok bots that will just follow through and make the same determination of using pstack with cloud agents when necessary. So this is probably the most important part to give to the agent, because then after this, you'll actually see them spinning up some new Grok bots. So it actually spins up something specifically as a DevOps person to land the PRs. And so this guy's job is to talk and interface with everyone else to make sure that all the PRs land like they're supposed to. And so it's nice because now it has just a dedicated workspace to do this. Clippy Convex just works on my backend. And so as far as the backend, this just interfaces with the other two bots. You can see the conversations they're having. And then you can see even between the guy who's doing PRs, it will even tell the guy who's supposed to land the PRs to hold on, you can't land that PR. I can't tell you how many times I've been working on a project, especially with a lot of stuff going on concurrently, where I'm having to switch my hat from one place of writing code and shipping software to, wait, hold on, that has a big merge dependency. We can't do that right now because it's going to break the build for anyone who's testing it. And so delegating this work out is actually magical, and it works. So crazy. It's so good. I don't even have to be involved. And you can see the auth guy. This guy is just dealing with all my authentication stuff. So this talks to the main agent from Clippy app. So Clippy app, like I said earlier, is the direct responsible agent. Think of this as like the head project manager or the engineering manager who's in charge of the whole project, trying to see that the whole project ships end to end. And so this is the person that's delegating out work, maybe wearing the project management hat. But I don't go crazy trying to delegate it out. I just told that main DRA, Clippy app, to spawn these out as it's needed, because it's able to see the work that we're already giving it, and it's understanding what agents it needs to spawn out so it can stay on top of those things and keep that communication going. I don't want to be involved. So one other advantage of doing this, I don't know if you saw this right now, but as we're scrolling through these different things, the agent is not really pinging me at all. So I don't get these notifications going crazy on my phone like you normally would. If you were interfacing with any of these agents previously, like in other apps, like in Discord or something, all these pings would be going crazy. You can mute them and do all that stuff, but trying to read through and sort through that stuff can be kind of a mess. And they have their own conversation. This is a chat view only. I can't even go into this chat and start talking with them. This is between the main guy and the guy who's actually delegating the work, which is really, really incredible, to be honest. So this is amazing. I am now even using this guy to spin up other work because I just feel like, hey, can you spin up this new project and so forth? And that's how useful this is. And I think this is really, really incredible for doing that. So just to kind of recap a little bit of kind of what we've been doing, the first part is like making sure that you set up your agents so that you can kind of go ahead and start to think about this workflow. And that's the direct responsible agent. And so the way that you do that is just to give it that prompt. I'll have all this stuff in the guide here in the free school community at Start My AI. I'll have the links in the description. And make sure you also have pstack installed as well. So that's the biggest part for doing that. And then once you start to kind of get into frenzy, like the way I'm doing, the next part is requesting that you have the bot make some new bots so it can kind of stay on top of it. And then to use pstack in the cloud with the agents when necessary. And that's where you start to see some of this like magic really start to pop up. And I think this is kind of like the biggest unlock that you'll start to get to these things. Another big cheat code that I want you to take away from here is that this will start to get a little crazy. So what you want to do is just go ahead and right click any one of these little bubbles, right? These little chat guys, and right click them and you can say move to a new section. So create a new section for the project. I created the new section. I just named it the name of the app called Clippy. And so this keeps them all together. So what's nice about them is you can do the whole accordion thing where they kind of expand out and not. And it just makes it really easy to keep track of what's going on. So in my case, I have Clippy. So Clippy and all of the whole team is just there. When I don't really need to see them and I'm focusing more on my life and health, this is kind of really where I hang out in here. And this is a really nice way to kind of interface with these types of agents because they will be available to you and other times they won't be. So I can just kind of minimize them and I can work on different things. I have stuff for different Luma events that I'm running. So they kind of spin up their own thing. And you can kind of see they just go away. So this is probably like a really nice unlock. I have life, I have health, and then I have chief of staff. So you can pin certain ones to the top. I find the pinning can be really useful if you have maybe one like master agent that's doing things and then they delegate the work out. So I think this is kind of the best convention that I found to work with this. I have been using the Grok Bot for probably over a couple of weeks now. I was one of the few people who were able to get really early access and give a lot of feedback and try to figure out some of these workflows. And I've ironed out quite a bit of different things. And this is still in early beta. So if you want to go ahead and see more, make sure you stay subscribed to the channel because I'll actually show you how I actually have my receipts set up. So I've replaced my whole QuickBooks thing. I reduced the $40 a month subscription for my business, literally just by spinning up a Grok Bot. And once you start to understand how powerful this paradigm is, you'll really start to go crazy because what I started to do as well is like I even have a whole fitness coach. So like this fitness coach I just have replaced a Cal AI subscription. I just give it a screenshot and it even spun up a web app for me so that I could even check this on my phone if I wanted to on the go, where I just give it the pictures and it's giving me my whole protein breakdown, my calorie breakdown for what I need for the day. This is really exciting. I feel like this is probably the biggest advancement that I've seen in these agents. And it's literally only been like a couple of weeks old as far as the launch. There have been things that have come before it, for example, OpenClaw and Hermes, and those things require a developer to really get that set up and going. This is not something that I could just hand to my brother who isn't a developer and say, go ahead and start using it. So these workflows are still being ironed out. Obviously, this is still in beta, and this is not really like the final product, but I'm already seeing a lot of really promising things here, and I'm really excited to show you more. So make sure you check out the free community, and I'll catch you soon in the next video.